Okay, so I did my presentation on the Battle of Gettysburg, and there's that. Okay, summary. It took place in Pennsylvania from July 1st, July 3rd in 1863. It was the largest battle of the American Civil War and also the largest battle ever fought in North America. It involved 85,000 Union Army soldiers and 75,000 Confederate Army soldiers. Day 1 began at 5:30 a.m. with shots exchanged over Mosh Creek. By 11:30 a.m., General Henry Heth had been defeated and forced back to Her Ridge. In the afternoon, Lee arrived on the field. He hoped to avoid general engagement since the strength of the enemy was unknown and terrain unfamiliar. By 2 p.m., his division joined the attack, and by 3 p.m., the battle spread north of the town. By 4 p.m., Federal corps retreated through Gettysburg to Cemetery Hill. Federal losses numbered slightly over 90,000 and 3,000 captured. Confederate losses numbered about 65,000. The day resulted in Confederate victory, but Federal forces still held onto the high ground. Day 2. The success of Day 1 encouraged Lee to renew the battle on Day 2. In the early morning, Lee directed his men to attack the Federal lines, which did not extend as far as they thought. They were to march south until they reached the Federal forces and attack. The Federal Army was ready for the attack, with 6 out of 7 corps on the battlefield. After furious fighting, Federal lines collapsed and Confederates advanced, but Federal reinforcements checked their advancements. Further north, Confederates were forced to retreat. Day 2 resulted in 90,000 casualties on both sides. Lee gained ground but failed to dislodge the Federal Army from its strong position. Day 3, Lee's confidence was not shaken by the events of the day before, and he ordered his men to attack the Federals on Corpse Hill. Federal forces waited for the attack. On Corpse Hill, Federal trenches were captured, and at 1 p.m., the Federal Army and Confederate Army attacked each other with an artillery bombardment. The duel lasted about 2 hours. After it subsided, Confederate infantry went forward, but Federal artillery cut through their forces. The attacks ended in a disaster with nearly 5,600 Confederate losses. The battle was over. The Federal total losses approximately 23,000, and Confederate losses ranged from 20,000 to 28,000. Here's some facts. About 569 tons of ammunition were fired during the entire battle. Civilians were left to deal with the wounded, burying the dead, and piling and burning carcasses of horses. Mary Wade was the only civilian killed during the battle when a random bullet went through the door of her house, and she was only 20 years old.